What would a disaster curse of war look like in Jujutsu Kaisen? Let's talk about it. All right, first of all, shout out to AnTRB for asking me about this today. And this is an interesting one that I've actually thought about before. Like, there's certainly tons of other cursed spirits based upon widely known fears in the world that we didn't get to see in JJK. So what would one based upon war itself look like? And honestly, the first place my mind went was nuclear war, because that is the largest threat in our world today, especially when it comes to war, right? So I was imagining what a cursed spirit based upon that in particular would be, because war obviously has a million different facets to it. But if we're distilling this down to an entity that needs to have one singular concept as a curse technique, then nuclear is where my mind goes. So I'm imagining a horrific entity that basically emits massive amounts of radiation just in its presence at all times, like being able to instantly transform living things around it into horrific, grotesque versions of themselves. But that wouldn't even be the curse technique. That would just be kind of like baked into what this thing was. And the technique itself would obviously be more like nuclear explosions, which is obviously just straight up ridiculous, but I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. Now I'm just imagining like some really cool AU world building where like this thing is somehow like dormant beneath Chernobyl or something, and that's part of why nobody can go there. And maybe it's because, you know, in times of peace, mostly, maybe it's dormant, you know, maybe only when war tensions escalate does this thing start to get active. But then in addition to that, AnTRB also asked me about a curse surrounding the idea of human oppression and dictatorship throughout time. And honestly, I think that's just Mahito, because he represents all the horrors that humans put upon each other. And obviously we could kind of extrapolate everything down to that, like nuclear war is obviously human on human violence, but there's more like machines of war to kind of point to in that case. But just in terms of like general oppression and stuff, I think that would fall to Mahito. Anyways, it's always fun to think about these things, so let me know in the comments what y'all's disaster curse of war would be.